What's up everybody, it's SHOWTIME, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I will be sharing with you or discussing with you all the answers or the solutions to that of police brutality. If you recall last week or tuned in to the episode last week, you saw that I talked about Blue Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter, or Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter, tomato. But if you tuned in last week, you saw that was the talking point of last week's discussion. So of this week's discussion, we will be discussing the potential solutions or the potential answer to that of police brutality. Now, whether or not these solutions are actually attainable by the human race, that's a whole nother sandwich, and I'm not going to really get into that. But what I will do is share with you the potential solutions and answers. And before I get into this video in great detail, I want to set some ground rules. And number one being is that I understand that there are a whole lot of police out there, and I'm not sure what the percentage is per se, but I do understand that there is a certain amount of police officers out there who do abuse their badge and abuse their power and privilege and use unnecessary force in situations that don't really call for that. Now, another thing that I want to say as far as ground rules is concerned is that I do understand that there are police officers out there who do decide to profile, they do decide to, use prejudices, and they are racist. I know that there are police officers like the ones that I previously described, right? So what I really want to do in this video is save that for the last talking point. I'm gonna save that to the end. The solutions that I'm about to present to you as far as police brutality is concerned in this particular scenario is the scenarios in which police brutality is lawfully used, because people don't really like to talk about police brutality in the sense of that there is a such thing as lawful police brutality and unlawful police brutality. You just hear police brutality and you automatically think, oh, well, it's bad or it's unlawful. No, there are two types of police brutality, and the first that I will be discussing the solution to is the lawful one. So let's get right into it. Now, in order for police brutality to be considered lawful or to be considered just, there are at least three criteria that need to be met. And I understand that there can be more added to this criteria, but at least these three need to be met. And the first of this criteria is that the police officer needs to have reasonable probable cause, right? The probable cause cannot be that, hey, this individual is African American or this individual is Latin American, so that therefore means that he or she has committed a crime and now I have the jurisdiction to proceed to beat the hell out of them. No, it does not work that way, and that should not be what probable cause is. So that's the first of the criteria. Now, the second of the criteria is that if an individual has done something, to have had the police to be called over to their area to confront them about the wrongdoing or the law breaking that they have done, then that therefore means that the second criteria has been met. Now, the third criteria, which I feel is the most important, at least in my humble opinion, that is that if an individual is resisting arrest, knowing good and well that they committed a crime and the evidence is there that they committed the crime, yet they still are resisting arrest, then the police officer now has the full jurisdiction to enact police brutality lawfully upon this individual, right? And let me explain what I mean by that. That therefore means that the police officer or police officers, depending upon how powerful the individual is or what the person may have done or what the person has as weapons, I feel like the police officer should apply the amount of pressure that is needed for that particular situation. The police officer or police officers should not overdo it, because once you overdo it and enact more pressure or put more pressure on the situation than is needed, that is when it becomes unlawful. And see, here's the thing that many people don't really get as far as the police force or the military force or the air force, right? They have force in their name for a particular reason. They would not have force in their name if they were not there to enforce something, right? Whether it be power, laws, jurisdiction, all of that good stuff, right? But particularly pertaining to the police force, they do not have force in their name for no reason, right? They have force in their name because they are there to enforce the laws and to protect property and to protect the property of government buildings or government owned buildings and corporations and all of this kind of stuff. Don't believe me? Go look it up. And if you are one of those individuals who believes that the police department's primary and predominant purpose is to serve the civilians, the citizens, or the common people, then riddle me this real quick. Why does it seem as if the police are a whole lot more easily and readily available and expedient and very efficient when it comes to enforcing the laws of that of your Walmart, your Kmart, your local mall, or property owned by a government or any type of facility of this nature? Why does it seem as if that they are more easily available and more expedient and efficient when it comes to serving these type of facilities? Actually, as a matter of fact, you probably go by your local Walmart, grocery store, whatever the case may be, you more than likely will see police officers in the parking lot or sitting or parked on the side of the store that are on standby ready for combat. But then if somebody like you and me, who are a common folk or a citizen or a civilian of a local city or town, if we were to dial up 911 and say, hey, well, somebody robbed me or somebody broke into my house and committed burglary or someone's burning my house down or whatever the case may be, it seems like it takes them forever to get there. Not insinuating anything, just asking a question or two. But anyway, getting back to answering this notorious question of how do we greatly reduce or completely eradicate police brutality, the answer is very, very simple, and I'm glad that you asked. Well, going back to the ground rules that I established at the beginning of this video, if you are one of the people who are considered a good cop by society standards, then it is your duty to report these cops who are the people who I described at the beginning of this video, the cops that meet or fulfill the description of the cops that I described at the beginning of this video, which was the cops who racially profile and do all of this type of stereotyping and whatnot. Their only probable cause is that, well, this person is of this race, so that therefore means they committed a crime. Those type of cops, or the cops that just abuse their privilege or their power of having the badge, right? Those type of cops, if you are a good cop, it is your duty to report these type of individuals. So that's number one, right? The second thing is that if you are a commoner or a civilian and you come in contact with a police officer and they're just stopping and they're asking you something because they feel like you might actually be somebody who is doing something wrong, then just comply with them, especially if the police officer is very respectful and they're very calm about it and they have a very good demeanor, then just comply with them. Now, if the cop is trying to do things to make you mad and it's very evident, I do not believe in that. I do not believe in cops instigating the civilians or the commoners to try to get them to react in a very violent and very vicious manner so that then they have the excuse to be able to use police brutality. I am not an adamant believer of that, and I'm not advocating that. So to run all of that back, the first part of the solution is that if you are a good cop, it is your duty to report the bad cops to your superior of your department to get them off of the streets and strip them of their badge so they will not do unlawful and unjust police brutality on individuals. The second part of the solution is that if you are a commoner or a civilian and a police officer pulls you over for whatever reason, make sure you behave very respectfully with that police officer to ensure that both you and that officer have a very efficient type of situation, and so nobody gets hurt. Now, the third and the final component of the solution is that if you are a criminal, don't commit crimes. And I know that's going to sound very, very simple to many of you who are watching this video, but hey, there's just some people who just do not get it. So I felt as though I had to say it. So if you are a criminal, do not commit crimes, because guess what? If a police officer has to stop what they are doing because they got notified by a deputy or whatever at their station that, hey, this individual is running amok and committing crimes, they're going to be agitated because they had to stop what they were doing to come see about you. And knowing a lot of people who encounter the police and their behavioral traits, a lot of people, they want to give the police officer an attitude. They want to act a fool with the police and talk crazy to the police. So the fact that this police officer is agitated because they had to stop what they were doing to come see about you, and on top of that, you're giving them an attitude, it's like you're setting yourself up to encounter or to experience police brutality. So those are the three solutions of how to eradicate or greatly reduce police brutality, both lawfully and unlawfully. If you agree with the points that I've made in this video, please like and share the video with all of your colleagues or your friends and whatnot. And if you disagree with me, feel free to put your comment in the comment section below in a very reasonable and logical manner and explain yourself why you disagree with my point, or elaborate more on the point that I just merely touched in this video. And most importantly, subscribe to my channel if you want to see me grow on this platform, and if you want me to talk about many other things in the future. As always, make sure to add me on my Facebook and message me the topic, or you can just hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. And remember everybody, hashtag no lives matter. And as I've said before, and as I say always, it's Jay Showtime, your favorite rapper and favorite person. And if you ain't authentic, we ain't conversing. Till next time.
We stay up, up, down.